The subject matter is how to get to and around in New York City. That's why Robert Sinclair is here from AAA New York. Hello, Robert.
Hello, Eric.
Nice to have you here today.
Good to be here.
So we need to start with the airports. Those flying in, we've got 3 airports to deal with, basically, right?
Essentially, but there are some alternate airports that you need to keep in mind. But let's deal with the main ones first off. JFK,
right,
located in Queens. LaGuardia, also in Queens, and Newark Liberty. Now, if you're flying domestically, JFK or LaGuardia are probably going to be the ones you come in on.
Okay.
Or internationally by Newark Liberty and also JFK.
Okay.
But we've got a little situation at JFK for the foreseeable future that might limit people's availability.
From when to when is this going to start?
From March 1st until June 30th. The main runway, so-called Bay Runway, 31 left, 4 right, is going to be closed down for reconstruction. Okay. It's going to be widened, it's going to be strengthened, changed over from asphalt to concrete to accommodate the bigger, heavier aircraft that we have these days, like the Airbus A380 and the new Boeing 787 Dreamliner. So that we can fully join the 21st century. That facility is being modernized.
That being said, most analysts out there are saying we're going to see delays the same as we would for summer peak season, which I was like, right, because it's summer peak travel season.
Summer peak season. Well,
do we think it's going to have a real big effect on us or not, or do we know?
Well, we think it's going to have a big effect. Of course, the proof is in the pudding. We have to wait and see exactly how things pan out. Airlines have not increased flights like they usually do at this time of the year. But really the main busy travel season starts June 1st. And that's the last 30 days of the reconstruction that will be taking place.
Okay. So, now, we got to talk about getting from the airport.
Right.
The number one thing people have to remember is if somebody offers you a ride, don't get in the vehicle.
Beware.
It is illegal. And it's extremely unsafe. Now, people might say, well, oh, duh, it's a big problem at some of these airports.
There was a horror story a couple of years ago, last year, in fact, I think, at Kennedy Airport with some French tourists that accepted a ride from a van, and they wound up in Brooklyn with the police chasing after them with gunplay involved and all of that. Yeah. So, you know, there are yellow taxi cabs, admittedly expensive.
Yep.
And there are other ways of getting from the airport. There are livery services and what have you, but that's for hire. Yep. It is illegal for someone to just stop you at the airport and offer you a ride other than a yellow cab. Okay. So you need to keep that in mind.
And yellow cabs are going to come into play as we get into the city, especially when we deal with the tourist corridor in Midtown Manhattan. We don't need to rent a car while we're here, correct?
Not necessarily. New York is really a commuter city. It's the best city in the United States for public transportation. And in fact, fewer than half the people here, a little around half, own cars.
That's a good point.
So a lot of people don't, and they get around just fine.
And plus, when you take mass transit too, we're talking about the subways, the bus system, even the commuter rails, you get to come to places like this. Grand Central Terminal is a place you need to see, even if you're not going anywhere.
Exactly, and if you do happen to be going somewhere, it's a good place to step off from. But in and of itself, it's a place to come visit. It's got a lot of history, the grandeur of the terminal, and it's been here since, wow, the turn of the century, from the 19th to the 21st, to the 20th century.
Subways run with the Metro cards now. You can't swipe.
No tokens.
No tokens. I got my token necklace on right now. I'm not going to show it to you, but that's another matter altogether. But that being said, no car rental needed necessarily. You can, I suppose, if you want. You can do anything you want, but it's kind of expensive to rent a car here.
It is expensive. In fact, in New York City, it is the most expensive place in the United States to rent a car.
This is why we have him here. I get to learn a little factoid about that.
And if you want to know, the cheapest place is Orlando, Florida.
See, again, I love that.
Come to New York. We're talking about New York.
Thank you, sir, for doing this.
You're welcome.
And now you know how to get to and around New York City.